Welcome back to the pit of nostalgia, where childhood dreams, nightmares, and broken controllers all come crawling back. This is the channel where we dig deep into the games that defined an era. The good, the bad, and the downright insane. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you already know. These weren't just games. They were battles. And we're here to relive every glorious battle and every miserable rage quit. So grab your controller, brace yourself for some NES bullshit, and let's dive headfirst into another classic. And today's trip down memory lane? Oh boy. It's the one with the frog, the tank, and the kind of mutant hellspawn that only Sunsoft could dream up. That's right, Blaster Master. A game that starts with you chasing your pet frog into a glowing pit and ends with you piloting a battle tank against nightmare crabs and alien brains. This is one of those games that can make you fall in love with the NES and also make you throw your controller through the fucking TV. Let's jump back into the radioactive madness that is Blaster Master. You ever played a game that's so insanely weird that you're not even sure what the hell the developers were thinking? But somehow it ends up being one of the most badass experiences of your childhood. That's Blaster Master. A game that starts with your pet frog taking a radioactive dive into a hole in your backyard and ends with you piloting a futuristic tank through caverns full of mutant freaks. Only in the NES era could that storyline pass without somebody raising their hand and saying, excuse me, what the fuck? Released in 1988 by Sunsoft, Blaster Master wasn't just another platformer. It was a strange, ambitious, genre-blending monster that gave kids nightmares, rage fits, and some of the best damn music on the Nintendo. And today, I'm going back into that radioactive pit of childhood memories and mutant hellspawn to relive the chaos. Okay, the story so far. The US version decided to go full fucking Looney Tunes. You're Jason, just some kid, and his pet frog, Fred, decides to take a stroll into one of the backyards of America that just happens to have a bottomless glowing pit. The frog jumps in, and of course, Jason chases after him. And boom, instead of, breaking his neck, he finds a full-blown battle tank called SOPHIA the Third just fucking sitting underground like a used car dealership. And because Jason's apparently got a fucking death wish, he just hops in the tank and drives off to rescue Fred from the mutants. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole setup. And when you're 8 years old, it somehow makes total sense. I remember as a kid reading the instruction manual and thinking, oh cool, I'm gonna find my frog and shoot some bad guys. And 10 minutes later, I'm dodging radioactive crabs, missiles flying past my head, getting annihilated by a boss that looks like Cthulhu's pet goldfish. And the gameplay in tank mode. Holy hell. When you first drive SOPHIA, it's pure magic. That tank felt heavy, powerful, and responsive in a way most NES games just couldn't. You could jump. Yeah, a tank that jumps and fire in multiple directions. You had missiles, upgrades, and an energy cannon that felt like it could level a city block. The level design was clever too. Each new area teased you with paths you couldn't reach yet, making you think, if I just keep going, I'll unlock something badass. And sure enough, upgrades came trickling in, making SOPHIA feel more and more unstoppable. Well, until the game decided to kick you square in the teeth. Because here's the thing, about Blaster Master, as good as it feels, it's also one of the most unfairly punishing NES games I ever played. You think you're doing well, and suddenly, bam, you're shoved out of your tank, forced into one of those god-awful overhead levels. You're on foot now. And this is it. This is where the rage begins. When you step out of SOPHIA and go out on foot, the perspective switches to top-down shooter. In theory, it's a cool idea. In reality, it feels like you're walking through wet cement with a gun made of Nerf darts. Jason moves slower than molasses and Jared. His bullets are tiny, pathetic, pea shooters, and every enemy in those dungeons feels like they were designed to chew you up and spit you out. Don't even get me started on the bosses. Oh my god, the bosses. Each one looks terrifying. Giant crabs, monstrous brains, tentacle nightmares, but they all share one thing in common. They will beat the absolute shit out of you if you don't know the exact pattern. The crab boss, for example, fills the screen with little claw swipes that feel damn near unavoidable. You're chipping away with your weak little pew pew, and every time you get hit, your weapon power decreases. That's right. The more you get hit, the weaker your gun gets. NES developers were sadists, I swear. And heaven help you if you die, because the game kicks you so far back, you just start wondering why you didn't rent DuckTales in the first damn place. But when you finally win, that moment when the crab explodes and you get that sweet upgrade for Sophie, it feels like you climbed Everest. The rage pays off. Now here's where I stop ranting for a second. Because as much as this game tortured me, I can't deny one thing. The soundtrack is legendary. Sunsoft's composers pulled off miracles on the NES sound chip. The opening area theme is pure adrenaline. It pumps you up and makes you feel like a tank driving god. The cavern's themes are dark and moody, perfect for making you feel trapped in an underground mutant nightmare. Even today, I'll catch myself humming those tunes. They're burned into my brain like childhood trauma. And the atmosphere? For an 8-bit game, Blaster Master nailed it. The levels had this eerie, lonely vibe. You weren't just fighting monsters, you felt like you were descending deeper and deeper into something you shouldn't be messing with. The NES bullshit. Let's not sugarcoat it. This game is also peak NES bullshit. No saves, no passwords. If you wanted to beat Blaster Master, you had to sit your ass down for hours, probably on a Saturday, and pray your mom didn't tell you to turn it off for dinner. Cheap hits everywhere. Enemies respawn the second you scroll back. One mistake, and you're knocked into a pit. Dead instantly. Don't even try to play it safe, because the second you hesitate, something respawns right on top of you. And the hitboxes? Absolute garbage. You'd swear you dodged, but nope, Jason takes it right to the face. Your gun weakens, and suddenly you're pounding the floor with frustration. It's the kind of game that builds character by breaking your spirit. But here's the wild part. Despite all the rage, all the unfairness, all the frog-related nonsense, Blaster Master stuck with people. It became a cult classic. Gamers swapped stories on playgrounds. Nintendo Power gave you maps and tips for years. People whispered about finally beating it. It spawned sequels and re-releases, including the modern Blaster Master Zero series, which somehow manages to capture the same magic while fixing some of the old pain points. Because underneath the NES cruelty, there's a genuinely brilliant game here. It dared to mix genres, try things other developers wouldn't, and gave us a tank that could jump. And sometimes, that's all you need to etch yourself into gaming history. So, here's the deal. Blaster Master is a paradox. It's one of the most frustrating, punishing, soul-crushing games on the NES. And yet, it's also one of the most unforgettable. It's the game that made me yell at the TV until my throat hurt. But it's also the game that made me pump my fists in triumph when I finally won. It's the kind of game that you hate while you're playing it, but the second you put the controller down, you're already thinking about giving it one more shot. That's the power of nostalgia. That's the magic of the NES. And that's why all these years later, we're still talking about Jason, Fred the Frog, and one badass tank named Sophie. Blaster Master may have fried my childhood patience, but it also fueled my childhood passion. And for that, I salute it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go find a frog and make sure it doesn't jump into any radioactive pits. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I put out some new content. If you enjoyed this at all, or think somebody else won't enjoy it and want to make fun of it with you, make sure you share it. Share it everywhere. We're going to try and get this channel up and going. All right, take care, everybody. See you later. And remember, if any of you out there have been dying for a new badass tattoo, and you're within driving distance of the Ohio Valley, you need to check out the Inkatorium in Bel Air, Ohio, or Top Gun Tattoos in Martins Ferry, Ohio. Both shops loaded with licensed artists and apprentices. Fabulous work, amazing artists, amazing people. Very, very enthusiastic, and they love to meet new clients. And they're accepting new clients now. All right, y'all take care. See you next time.